Hey, Tonya.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Give me 2 minutes. We are setting up the player.
No problem.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kimmi.
Good morning. I figured it out.
Thank you so much for being here.
I figured it out. Yes. So happy to be here.
This is Emily, our communication director. Hold on, let me bring. There you go. We're giving her the mic. So Twitter just updated. So if you can't hear me, let me know. Then I'll step down as a co-host, but I don't want to since I'm on my other account. But so we'll go ahead and start, and then I'll give a short intro to Kimmi, and so I'm so excited. Kimmy's here, but I feel like I need to change my outfit. So when we're talking, I'm going to change my outfit. So good morning, Emily. Hi, how are you?
Good morning, Tonya. Good morning, Terry. Hi, Kimmi.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Are you're changing your outfit on your avatar, Tonya? Is this what?
Breathing gently in through your nose, out through your mouth. And all you're concentrating on is your breath. Take another deep inhale in. Exhale out. And I'm going to close with this affirmation. Whatever is exposed to the light itself becomes light. Invoke divine light to shine within you and reach into your shadow areas. Allow the healing power of this light to dissolve all that wounds your spirit and so restore your health. Open your eyes. Namaste. May the divine in me honor the divine in you. Thank you.
I love that. I wish you'd come do this for me every morning for 5 minutes. Can you do that, Terry?
Just let me know. Let me know. We'll set it up.
So this week's Empower Yourself Monday Communicator of the Week is Kimmi Stoltz. Actually, Kimmi and I have known each other for a long time. Kimmi has been such an inspiring, and I'm watching her blossom, really not blossom, just watching her make things happen. So let me give you a little information about Kimmi. Kimmi is the co-founding partner at Clean Living Health and Wellness. Their goal is to inspire health equity on a global scale, biotechnology, sociological approach to researching health disparities in the level of the community, the family, and the individual. Provide innovative health and wellness products, services, and programs, and reinvigorate and revitalize the bodies and mind of our community. And she's also the assistant professor at the Noah University College of Pharmacy, and she's also the co-founding partner of Juicery RX, which is they educate current advances in nutritional research, culinary medicine, and pharmaceutical science. They lead discussion on workshops and self-care initiatives in community to encourage educated decisions making about food choices and overall health. And she was also the clinical wellness educator at Life Extension Nutrition Center. And I also wanted to let you know that she's one of the most charismatic person I've ever met. So again, here's my good friend Kimmi. And I'm so happy she's here. We all this was done in a text message, by the way. She agreed. I was like, yes. So good morning, Kimmi.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so excited to be here. And thank you, Tonya. Yes, we've known each other forever, and there's been so many changes. So in my life, I'm very, very excited. You know, tell me, I know there's so many things I want to start with. Is there anything specific you want me to start with or share? Because I want to make sure that it's relevant for everyone.
Well, today's episode 11 is all about you. So let's talk. Let's start back a little bit about you started out as a pharmacist. You went to school. That's
Yes.
how I met you. And so let's talk a
Yes.
little bit about that journey. I mean, I've seen you. When I tell you, I literally have followed you. We've been friends for a long time, but just to see where you were when I first met you and where you are today. So, and then also the pandemic. I mean, like you started a business.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff we want to talk. We want to know all about that. I want to get caught up with you. And then
Okay.
Emily and Terry will probably have questions. And we'll while you're chatting with us, I'm still going to change my outfit, and then I'm going to I'm going to start promoting this space. But again, this space
Perfect.
is it's a recorded space, and it's being recorded in 3 different platforms because we cut it up in snippets and we write a blog out of this. So again, this is very today's space is very quaint and very quiet, but we plan to utilize the 60 minutes of this episode and promote it everywhere. So we're cutting everything up in little snippets to 2 to 10 minutes. So I want to let you know why we're doing this.
Perfect. Okay, so just a little bit of background history on me. So, yes, went to pharmacy school. After pharmacy school, then decided to go into the traditional sort of, pharmacy training. career choices, worked in the hospital, worked in the retail sector, and I ended up getting really, really sick. And I couldn't figure out, what was going on. Saw a bunch of physicians, they wanted to throw, a bunch of medications at me, and I really still wasn't feeling any better. And so from there, I was like, okay, like something's got to give. Started looking into lifestyle, went to a conference, and at the time, I was actually working for a plastic surgeon, and I went to a conference that Tanya had invited me to, A4M. Met the founder, of Life Extension at the time, offered me a position, and really, I want to say, like, shout out to Life Extension for really opening up my eyes to sort of this whole other world of sort of, I don't want to say healing, but learning more about lifestyle modifications. And so with that and with my, sort of traditional training in pharmacy, I merged both worlds together and really started to heal my autoimmune condition. I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition. So I've been on this incredible wellness journey, and I feel that everyone has a health journey, whatever, however small or big, we all do, right? Or we know someone that does, and it's a very personal journey. So, it was with Life Extension for a while, and then started tinkering and playing around with food and how food is so powerful and is an integral part of the healing journey. So then decided to open up my own apothecary inspired cafe. So we do like juices and foods and like healthy snacks. Probably what makes it most unique and special is we infuse a lot of different herbs into what we're doing into the menu. And then from there, became an assistant professor in the pharmacy school and taught nutrition there, and now you know changed careers because I love that. I did that for a few years, and now I am working for a real estate company. And you're probably thinking, what are you doing for a real estate company? Did you become a realtor? I did not become a realtor. What's really exciting about the real estate company is that we have a captive audience with about 100,000 residents. And everyone is very worried about sort of like the built environment and, more walking space. How do we help our residents, empower themselves, being healthier, especially with the pandemic? And everyone's having that conversation in that real estate space. But what we're not having a conversation about is like, how do we take care of the intel inside the home, which is the resident? So I am now director of ARC Living, and we are putting together programming, products, and services for our residents that's affordable and accessible. Because as you all know, wellness is not affordable and it is not accessible. And so we are trying to figure out what that special formula looks like to make wellness affordable for our residents. So that's what I'm doing now. And the whole Empower Yourself Monday is that I truly believe that education is integral, education for everyone, because the more we know, the more we understand, the more we can feel empowered to make choices that are best for us. And so that's really the whole, idea and mission behind Arc Living. So I'm very excited to really sort of share that with you guys on today's call. So I'll stop there. So you tell me, Tanya, or anyone else,
No,
if
no,
there's
you're good. You're good. So, art living. I know we've been. I've been. I know. I remember when you first started with them. So, that's just like a huge difference. When I too, at first I was like, is she going to become a real estate agent? Which I wouldn't, put past you because you've done it. I mean, you can do anything really. But with that in mind, I mean, with the project you're working on, I mean, when I think it was God, it's been 2 years now, Kimberly. It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, and now it's been 2 years. So how far is your project going? You guys are because you've launched like 2 years. Wasn't it 2 years ago?
So we started
Yeah.
putting it together 2 years ago. So we launched Q4 of last year. So we've been collecting data, we've been collecting information, and I will say that we have 6 pillars that we've created 6 pillars: health and longevity, health and wellness. We have fitness, we have which we call movement, nutrition, um, diagnostic, sleep, mindset, and social. And I will say that the most popular area that our residents are engaged with is actually mindset, which makes sense, right? Because with the last 2 years with the pandemic, I mean, we've all been sort of stuck at home alone and in our own heads. So, what we've done is that we've put out a lot of free mental wellness content for our residents, and they're just eating it up. We are seeing that residents are logging in during their lunchtime while they're working and listening, to 15 minutes of a mindset class. So it's really exciting to see that. And what we're seeing is that the more we are educating our residents, the more they want and the more they understand and realize how important their health is. So, so that's what we've been doing, since Q4 of last year, is continuing to put content out. And the really exciting thing that we're working on now is actually the social components. And what we're doing for the social component for our residents is we've partnered up with a huge volunteer organization to actually promote giving back. We all want to give back. We all want to be a part of something bigger than us, to give us meaning. It's like that intrinsic, value that we're all craving. And for the last 2 years, we sort of have been, you know, separated from the rest of the world. So here is an opportunity for all of us to get together and listen. There's even virtual opportunities to volunteer, but this is an opportunity to come together, give back to people who are less fortunate, or even for selfish reasons, like we just want to give and do something to feel good. Right. So we partnered up with this huge organization to get our residents to come up together to not only talk and do things with each other, but also to give back to the world. So that's really exciting that we're working on with the social pillar. And then the next phase is we are in conversations with telehealth. As you know, digital technology is massive, and it's, you know, what happened with the pandemic, it's really pushed, this need for digital therapeutics and digital health, because who wants to go to the doctor's office in person anymore, especially if like it's like a cough and cold or something like that. So the next sort of space that we're working on and finalizing is digital health, and offering telehealth to our residents at an affordable and accessible price. That is that's a game changer, to be able to help um, so many people, that are moving in. And listen, some of our communities are in remote areas. Some of our communities are in places where, almost kind of like a food desert, there's not much going on. So imagining to be able to help some of our residents in those areas, because the reality is our demographic, our residents have an average income of $6,000. So this is an average American, and as you know, this group is one medical bill away from becoming part of the underserved population. So how do we help them? Everyone is thinking about what we can do about the underserved population, but we have a huge class of residents, of people in this world that are part of that 99 percentile, and we got to support them. So I'm so proud of the work that we're doing. I'm so so excited about how we're, helping and supporting our residents in a way that they are empowered to take care of themselves with support. So
I
um,
love that. Congrats on that. Yeah, I was going to ask you like how far oh my gosh, that's so important these days. But and then you have another business too, because when I talk about entrepreneurship, Kimmi is very much into this. So what about your Juicery RX also? And then, before I start, Emily wants to ask something. Emily, grab the mic.
But it's actually funny you said that, because I had a same question about the juicery and like the food component of it as well, because I find that part fascinating. So that was my question too. Can you tell us a little bit more about that side of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Juicery RX, it was, a wild idea that came about, knowing that food is such an important piece of healing. It is such an important piece of feeling good. Um, it's insane to me that healthcare professionals aren't trained more in nutrition, aren't trained more in how to eat. If you go to a typical physician and let's say you have diabetes or high cholesterol, like pretty much the counseling you get is like, okay, like, eat your greens, you got to eat healthier. Listen, we all know we have to eat healthier, but what does that look like? And what does that entail? And like, does that mean that I need to eat, just a salad every single day? So I think it's such a, you know, easy thing when we think about how to eat healthy, but at the same time, it is the most challenging for people. Listen, it's even challenging for me. Like, I love my French fries. And like, when I was going through my own health journey, like, it was the one thing that I would not give up. Like, I gave up so much. Like, French fries was like my treat, So I think what we did at Juicery, what we've done at Juicery is like, okay, like, how do we create a really great menu that is going to give the people coming in the biggest bang for their buck, right? So one, we make our food the way you would make it at home. As you know, most restaurants and most sort of hospitality business, they use the cheapest oils, they use the cheapest ingredients, like you name it, like it's whatever you can do to cut down costs, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't equate with foods that taste great. And if the only way to make it taste great is you have to add in tons of butter, tons of salt, tons of sugar, like all these things that clearly, not necessarily the healthiest for you. So we're super transparent in our menu. We're super transparent with what we're doing and how we make things. And I'll give you an example. So we make our own chicken salad. Most places will buy a chicken salad from like a third party that's been packaged and frozen and you de-thaw it. So we make everything from scratch. We get like the raw chicken, we get like all the ingredients and the spices, and we make it ourselves. But let's say we go one step further. Normally you have to add in, extra salt or extra sugar or sweeten it up and balance out sort of like the flavor in chicken salad. What we've done instead is we'll take the oranges that we've juiced, for our juices, and we'll take the zest and we'll zest the oranges into the chicken salad to give it this unique flavor profile. And then we dice up red apples and put it into our chicken salad to sweeten it instead of using sugar. And then we'll use different herbs and spices, and for instance, like dulce flakes, which is, an algae that is naturally salty, and we'll use that in the chicken salad. So we're using probably how our, ancestors used to cook and eat and whatever else from the earth and from the world. And that's how we make our dishes. So tons of love goes into everything we put out and everything that we do. So we're very, very, when I created the menu, I was very cautious and vigilant of like, okay, like, is there an alternative? Can we do something better? How do we make this better? Because at the end of the day, what we've learned is we get a lot of consumers and people coming in that are recovering from cancer, that are really sick, and they haven't been able to go out to eat at any restaurant. But when they come and see us, like, our food makes them feel good because we've implemented these strict protocols of how we handle food with love and with care. So I'll stop there. So that's probably the most special thing about Juicery RX.
I think that sounds amazing. And I love that you, as you said, like eating the way that our ancestors ate, eating kind of that, that really clean, healthy diet, but not feeling like you're missing out on anything. Because that's always the hardest part is just, yeah, you like your fries. I like my any kind of carb that you can put any kind of anything on top of. So it's it's always nice to know that there's places to get an alternative. So if we want to try like your chicken salad and things like that, how do people access your food? Where would we go?
Well, we actually we had 2 locations. So we actually sold that location in Weston, and then the other location we have right now is in Parkland, Coral Springs. So unfortunately, you have to be local to be able to go there. So that doesn't allow it for the masses. So we're in Florida.
Okay, wait. I'm in Coral Springs, so now I need to like you're in my hometown. Um,
Yeah,
yes, so I definitely will have to come by and give this a try.
absolutely. Just let me know.
Yay, amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you first get in? Like, did you go to school for cooking or anything like that? Like, how did you? I know I'm fascinated on the food side of this,
Yeah,
but I'm
no.
I'm
Um,
somebody who literally can't like do much beyond boil water. So I always find it fascinating when people know all of this stuff. But where did you find all these alternatives? How did you learn all this?
Oh, it's actually quite a funny story because I before this, you know, did not even know how to make rice in a rice cooker. Like I am when they say you can do whatever you want if you really want it, you can literally do whatever you want if you want it bad enough. So we had actually hired sort of a food scientist to help us create the menu and help us, create everything. And unfortunately, listen, this is life. He took the money and left, and we were left with nothing. Um, and so I had to figure it out. So I took time off of work and like sat and like experimented in the kitchen and did the best I could at the time. And it was like, probably I was probably playing around just because I'm not a trained chef. I'm sure if there was a trained chef, it would have been a much easier. But I was like playing around with food and flavors until like 3, 4 in the morning, figure out the menu. So tons of cookbooks and tons of playing around and messing up until you get it perfectly right. So that's kind of what happened. So my mom, when I told my mom that I was doing this and opening up Juicery RX, she thought I was the craziest person alive. And she's like, "You don't even cook. Like, how is this happening?" And all of my colleagues who are also fellow pharmacists were like, "You're opening up a restaurant? Like, most restaurants fail in 6 months, and we've been open for over 5 years. So very proud of it."
That's such an awesome story. And I love hearing that. Like when people, you know, there's always a second career, or that's what we always talk about here too. Always a second career. There's always an opportunity waiting. There's always a way to change your life and make a change in the world. And you just have to put your mind to it and learn something new sometimes. That's incredible. And it seems like you are quite the learner in general, the reinventor.
Yeah.
And I think that's always empowering for women to hear about overall because it's scary. That
Yeah.
is like such a scary thing to just switch everything up that you're doing.
Listen, I think as women, we have this imposter syndrome, and it doesn't matter how much we achieve, how much we do. There's always going to be, I don't know if it's like in our genetics, I have no idea, but I talked to some of the most brilliant, amazing women, and they all have pieces of that imposter syndrome. And, it just comes down to how good are you quieting that voice and still moving forward instead of letting it win. That's what it comes down to, and that's what I love about this, about empowering yourself. That's a big part of it, right? Believing in yourself and like knowing that you can do it and pushing yourself. And listen, the first day we opened up Juicery RX was the biggest disaster of my life. Like biggest disaster. Closed the doors at 7 o'clock. And Tanya, I don't even know if you know this. I closed the door at 7 o'clock and like went into the back of the kitchen and broke down and hysterically cried. When I tell you that everything could have gone wrong that day, when we opened the store, everything went wrong. Like things were not frozen enough. Things were, we ran out of ingredients. We had hired this high school sweetheart um, to work at our store, and talk about the power of social media. Clearly, he sent out an Instagram post or a Twitter or a tweet, and next thing you know, there's a line out the door, on the first day we open, with all these like high school kids and their parents and whatever else, all ready to try this. And we just didn't, I literally thought, oh, first day, soft opening, we'll see how it goes. And we were slammed. And I remember at the end of the day, before we closed, the mayor of the city came up to me and was like, I'm going to give you some feedback. I just want you to know that I get that you just opened up. Today was not a good day. There's a lot of complaints. Really, you kind of have a few months to get it together, or people are just going to stop coming. Literally, that was feedback. And
Scott
honestly,
Brooks, Scott Brooks said that to you? No way.
no, he wasn't the mayor at the time.
Oh, no. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I was like,
because
Scott?
for yeah. So it was listen, it was the hardest feedback to hear, and it was the best feedback to hear. So after I had a meltdown for about an hour, I let myself cry for an hour. I picked myself up. Everyone went home that day. I spent the whole night completely rearranging the kitchen, the front, like completely rearranged it. And second day, still a little rough, but it was better. And little by little, we worked out the kinks and it got better. And listen, never ran a restaurant. So how was I supposed to know about how things were supposed to flow? But I stuck with it and I stayed with it. Um, so yeah, that's my wild, crazy story of the first day, and about how just don't give up. If there's something that you really want badly enough and to figure it out, you will figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, I will not let this fail. I have no choice. I've put in my savings for this. Let's go.
And also along the way, while doing all this, you had a child. You're a mom. Balance of life.
Yes. Luckily at the time, I didn't have her yet, but yes, had a child after, and was trying to get pregnant. Tonya knows this. I have been at the time, I was trying to conceive for 5 years, 5 years. And on top of the stress of the business, when the one thing that you think should come so naturally because you're a woman and this is a natural thing for you to do, is to sort of bear a child, and you're unable to, like, imagine sort of that mental, jargon that is constantly going through your head. And it was really tough. It was really tough, to have all of it. And it's listen, obviously was able to conceive, and am very, very blessed for my daughter. But for anyone that is a woman that's starting their own business, in a business, whether they're an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur, right, in a huge organization, and to throw one to the mix like you're trying to conceive, it's really you need so much love and so much support. And at the end of the day, it's once again just moving past that sort of mental jargon that's going through your head that you're not good enough, and just, rising above it. And I think, once again, that's the whole empowering yourself, and also empowering, the people around you, right? Like not even just yourself, but like even though you're struggling and you're struggling with your own issues, like when I was working through the business, I had to empower all of my employees at the same time too, because they needed support, they needed love, and they were stressed out. And, so it's, we talk about ourselves, but it's everyone around us. We're all suffering or wondering or questioning something. So I would say that the most impactful thing that I did every single day was actually keeping my team motivated and inspired and challenged. And I think that's what it comes down to being sort of a great leader, right? Like loving your team and helping them.
That's so true.
It's so true. And I just add to thank you for speaking about the struggle with infertility and all of that, because I am also somebody who, clinically, medically infertile, can't, I have 4 amazing stepchildren now. So I got 4 of them. I'm good. But it's been, starting my business and also going through the same thing and the mental side of it, and which you spoke about, which just that imposter syndrome as a woman, where you feel like there are certain things you're supposed to do and you can't do those things. So it does affect your confidence and your mental health in that way. And then you really do have to keep from projecting that into the business side as well. So I think it's really important for women overall to be able to talk about it. I don't think women talk about it enough. And thank you for sharing that side of things. And congratulations on conceiving your daughter, because it's amazing. But yeah, it's really hard. And motivating your team while you're going through all of that. That's such a big point that people don't talk about. But while you're struggling, you still have to support other people, which is a great mom training too. But you still have to support other people no matter what you're going through when you're starting that business, or even as you're running your business. So I think what you're talking about is something that really does relate to so many women out there in helping them empower themselves, and we just don't discuss it enough.
Yeah, we don't. I think it's a combination of a few different things, but I know for me, it was like everyone around me was having children, and you start feeling really bad about yourself. Like, why can I not do something that's supposed to be, a natural part of life? So you really start questioning a lot, and that pain, a lot of women hide it from the rest of the world. And so I made it very clear to everyone around me, sort of my struggles. I didn't want to hide from it as hard as it was. I think it's even more powerful. And what I've learned is like the more you share these struggles with women around you, um, they sort of bring down their walls, their own walls. And, they're going to share back with you. And I think that's what makes, the whole process with being with other women and share your struggles with them, because like they're probably struggling with something else. And like, how do we support each other as women? And I think that's a huge thing. Like I'm involved in so many different like women's groups and things like that. And listen, like there are some incredible women that no matter what, like they're like supporting you even when they're having a crap day. And then like there's the other end of the spectrum where it's like it can get a little catty or competitive and whatever else. But what I've learned is the women that are the most competitive, like they probably need like the most love. Because I've had some friends that have been very competitive, and like when you start removing those crazy layers, like they're just really special people, and they need the most love. So I'm I always try to think about that and think about like creating safe places for people in my life to share. And the more that we all share with each other, the more we feel inspired to continue to share with the others around us. So so yeah, for infertility is a serious thing. It's become quite a big money maker. That's what I've learned. And my probably my most inspiring story about my daughter is obviously struggling for 5 years, and I got pregnant naturally somehow. It was definitely challenging though. Like I had to have, surgeries and stuff like that. My surgeon removed, I had like endometriosis and fibroids. They removed 10 fibroids from my body. and one of them was the size of a grapefruit. And if you saw me, like I find like I'm not a big person. So like when he showed me like the lineup of my fibroids, not to gross anyone out, but when you have a one fibroid out of 10 that's the size of a grapefruit, it's the craziest, wildest experience. And he told me that he literally had to do like reconstructive surgery on my female anatomy parts. And he pretty much said at the end of the surgery, I was still on like painkillers at the time. He was like, you probably have about 6 months to try to get pregnant. And then it's going to become challenging again because these fibroids are going to come back. Flat out just said it like that. I was like, oh, okay. Thank you. And those 6 months, I don't know if I was so stressed out because like I kept telling myself, oh my goodness, I have a deadline of 6 months. I didn't get pregnant in those 6 months. But I got pregnant. And so I kind of gave up and I was very close to adopting. And then I was just so stressed out about the whole thing. I found an acupuncturist close to my house. I started going to see her. I saw her maybe like a few times. And then one time I went in for and I was just seeing her not necessarily for fertility. I was seeing her because I was like, listen, just help me with my stress levels. Right. So I went in, we worked through the stress levels. My fourth or fifth time I came to see her, she does this thing where she feels your pulse. This is where your energy is. And she looks at me, she's like, I can't treat you today. I was like, oh, why can't you treat me today? And she was like, I think you're pregnant. My acupuncturist told me that. I was like, what? There's no way. And she's like, yeah, I think you're pregnant. I went home and took a pregnancy test and I was pregnant. It was the craziest journey ever. And she's also the one that told me that I was having a girl, acupuncturist. So, yeah. So
Yeah, you go to her.
you I know. I'm like, everyone go to her, right? She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. Also local in Coral Springs. I've sent a lot of people to her. But yeah, so that's my crazy story right there with with my pregnancy, that it was my acupuncturist that helped me, that told me I was pregnant and told me that I was having a girl.
So Kimmi, what's next? We have about 15 minutes. If anyone want to grab the mic, you're welcome to come up. That's when we let our listeners ask questions, or you can DM me and I'll ask her. But so what's next, Kimmi? I mean, is there any time? People laugh at me for being so busy, but that's why I say, when do you meet Kimmi?
Yeah.
So what's next?
Listen. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, things are changing. I'm actually to create more time into building up Arc Living, which is the real estate and the wellness side. I am stepping down from juicery, handing that over. I am going to stop teaching, because listen, like I would love to say that I could do it all. I really wish I could, but I can't do it all. And that's just the reality. And I think I'm okay with that, or at least I'm working on being okay with that, because right now, my daughter, she's 3 and almost 4. Like, she is my life. She's my priority. And I don't want to have my laptop out or working while she's with me, because I don't want to lose these memories of her, So I've made the decision to remove a lot of work stuff off my plate. So my focus will be on Arc Living and my focus will be on my daughter. So that's really the next thing for me. And yeah, very excited about that.
I love that. I mean, that's so important. I feel like, when you try to do so much everything, you really miss out a lot, and you have to prioritize what's important in your life. And sometimes, like I look back myself, my grown man son, my grown man son. I mean, I've like in when his younger days, I didn't have the opportunity to be able to spend the time with him, and really get into his life. But so I look at that, and sometimes I'm sad about that. I didn't get to experience that as much as everyone, all my girlfriends did. But then I realized, it's time management and anything else. So now, life is not about how many awards you have or how many things you do, or companies you own. Life is really, for me right now in my 50s, life for me is about my family and my friends and my circle of friends. So something, like I feel after this whole pandemic and everything that we're going through, so much has changed for people. People aren't spending time next week, standing next. I mean, Kimmi, I literally finally sat next to dinner with Sandra and Debbie Falloon. So I mean, like, just to sit next to your friends in a room without worrying about dying, was really exciting for me. So with that in mind, that's great that you are doing what you're doing, because it's a blink of an eye, your daughter's going to be graduating in college. So you got to enjoy all that moment plus more.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, and I definitely don't want to miss those moments. So, yeah. Does anyone have any questions for Tanya?
Well, I gave the mic to
Another?
Yeah, I gave the mic to Paulina and
Perfect.
Brent so I got into NFT. You know anything about that? You heard of it? Non-fungible token. It's the big
Yes,
thing now with
I
all,
know.
especially
I
for
know.
real estate.
I'm excited to learn more about that.
I'll help you. I'll teach you. No, well, I'm not an NFT artist. Paulina is, but I'm more of a promoter. I host spaces and stuff. But I got into different things. But I'm building an NFT culture club in a private community on Twitter. So it's really just to educate, empower, and engage, the three main things that I always focus on. So I just, like I said, NFT is social media is Web 2 when it started. Now we're going into Web 3 and the blockchain. And I just, and you're like the first person I thought about. I was like, wow, Kimmi should be doing this, especially with her project, Art Living Life. And there's so many different ways you can look at it, but we can talk offline about it. But hi, Paulina, how are you? Good morning. GM.
Mother flashers. It's nice to join all of the ladies here and guys too. We see you down there, Brent AV. Yeah. So thanks for sharing such an inspiring story. I'm so glad you were able to actually have a child, because I know that's very important to our womanhood. I know how it is. I mean, I have bipolar, so I've made a conscious decision that I'm not going to have any children. Not because I don't feel like I'm going to be a fit parent, but that is because I would have to go off of my medication, and that would be very dangerous. So I don't want to put that at risk, because I mean, it might be possible that I could die without that I would. So yeah, it's just been a decision I've been making, and it's very, very, very tough that I've had to uh do. Like I've got baby fever, major baby fever. And I so envious of people that have, their own families and stuff. But I'm just kind of like, been trying to deal with that, just trying to think of myself as like the mother to all children, all kids are mine. So I'm cool with it now. So thanks for sharing your story.
But the way technology is, you never know, Paulina. You never know. So
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have me a metaverse baby, some Web3 baby.
there you go. You can have a metaverse baby. We're in Web
Yeah.
3 right now. So good morning, Brent, GM. So Brent is a space host also. I do a lot of co-hosting with him too. We do a lot of spaces together. And he has spaces tonight too tonight at, I don't know. Brent, what time is your space tonight? Oh, he's at work. You must be at work. You can't speak. Okay. Oh, no, he dropped down. So it's about 10:50. We're gonna finish up sharp at 11. And so Kimmi, what has changed as far as doing your events? Because I noticed that during the pandemic, you did a lot of virtual educational classes. You made it so, and then you gave back to the community. Can we share a little bit about that in our final thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So during the pandemic, obviously, sort of the world shut down. People were afraid to go anywhere, especially going to a restaurant. And at the time, we had been working with a local charity that was providing funds for mental health for the local community. So where we live, and I'm sure everyone knows this, the Douglas shooting, high school shooting that the news went national. So we were trying to, raise money for that organization. So I thought to myself, hey, why don't we do these cook at home classes, for community and also to raise money. So we put together sort of menus and we put together all the ingredients together, and once a month we would come together as a community. People would pay for sort of like, it's kind of like Blue Apron but like next level food. We had a chef working together at the time, so he would put together amazing dishes and ideas, and then people would come up and pick their packages that day, and through Zoom we all cooked together. So it was about 20 to 25 people every time we did this event. And it was so much fun. Like people would be like, you know, pulling out their wine and drinking it with the food. And people would be like, wait, am I cooking this right? It was like an incredibly interactive experience. And even though we were all at home, because we were all cooking together, it just felt like we were all together, which was really nice. So we raised a lot of money for Parkland Cares, which was the organization, um, for to help the victims of the Douglas high school shooting, just to support them mentally. So that's what we did for the whole time during the pandemic.
I remember seeing that. I just freaking I loved it. I thought that it was so incredible that you guys were doing it, and I watched a little bit too because I think you had some little clips. I think I saw it on social media. I was just like, that was incredible. So it's so innovative too at the same time, and also giving back.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was important, and we had so much fun. We had so much fun.
So Kimmy's about 9 minutes left. Brent, did you want to ask Kimmy a question?
Am I audible now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, for some reason I couldn't hear you at first.
Yeah, I think the co-host position is kind of ruggy for a lot of people, for some people. But it sounds good from I'm watching the live stream on YouTube right now. It sounds good on YouTube.
Can I ask Kimmy a question, Tonya?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes.
I feel really passionate about your story, and would love to collaborate with you and show you the Twitter space and do some collaboration with you.
Yeah, please listen. I'll share my email with you if you have a pen and paper. So please feel free to email me. We love collaborating. So it's Kimmi. So it's KIMMI at T as in Tom, I M as in Mary, G M as in Mary, T as in Tom.com. So Kimmi at TIMGMT.com.
That's great. And well, I hope to see you more on Twitter Spaces, by the way, Kimmi, because
I know.
How do you feel about being on here? Because it sounds really, really. It's like I said, it's like being on. It's a podcast, so it sounds. The social audio is because of the pandemic. Social audio is just taken off like crazy. Have you done one? Did you do anything on Facebook or Instagram? I think they're launching a social audio also.
No, this is my first, so hopefully not the last.
Yay!
I love it. So thank you.
Social audio was my jam. That's where I met Tonya.
Oh, there you go. Well, awesome. Well, excited to get your email, Brent. Look forward to it. And Tonya, thanks. Like this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. So any final thoughts before we let you go? I'm gonna go ahead and check. And then I also tell my friend where Palmore. I think I always mispronounce your name, but hi, thank you for being here. So Kimmy, before we go, can you give us a final thoughts and also you already told us how we can get a hold of you and your website also we needed.
Yes, so we're actually rebuilding our website right now, so that won't be ready yet, but when it will be, I will definitely share it with you. We've recently done a whole rebrand with Arc Living, so that's changing. But my last thoughts that I would have to share with everyone is listen, with everything that's happening right now with Ukraine, and coming out of the pandemic, I just think that for me, it's more love. More love for each other, more love for differences that we may all have. I think that is probably the most important thing. It's okay to have differences. It's okay to not agree with each other, but let's do it in a way that's respectful and to hear each other out. Like there's this famous picture that you see where you have the number, well, it could be a 6 or it could be a 9, depending on where you're standing. Neither parties are wrong. It's just your life and how you grew up and our perspective that's different. So take a moment and listen to the people around you and be open. So that's probably my biggest thing that I want to live with. It's just a lot more love in this world.
That's so important. And then we have the last person because we follow each other. He's such a motivational person. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Tonya.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Tonya. Yeah, how's everybody doing?
We're doing good. We're actually getting ready to shut down the space in 4 minutes, but I wanted to give you the mic because you are such an empowering person. So, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm great. I just stumbled on the space and so I said, let me listen and see what's going on. But I mean, it's fine. I know it's you have to wrap up, and I don't need to take much more time anymore. But just want to say hello to everybody, and I'm going to follow those who I'm not following now, and yes, we'll connect and relate on other spaces.
Well, you and I need to do a space together. So, you're on
Absolutely.
my list. Yeah, we've been talking about it, but we need to do a spaces together. So,
Look,
on this note,
it's long
everyone,
overdue.
sorry, go ahead.
It's long overdue already.
Very long overdue. I think we've been planning this for a while. So Terry, did you have final thoughts? If she's near the mic or not,
Hey there. Can y'all hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I am super impressed with Kimmy. And I have been communicating with Emily and you, Tonya, along the way here that we all want to have lunch at your restaurant.
We're doing a
Let me
board
know.
meeting. Yeah, we're doing a board meeting. So I guess it's going to be at Juicy RX.
There you go. Let me know.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there a website for your business?
So Juicery RX has a website that is www.juiceryrx.com.
Awesome. Awesome. So we'll get all our information on there, the hours and stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. It's very, very informative. We are all on the same wavelength. All on the same wavelength. That's awesome what you're doing.
Thank you, Terry.
Yes, you're welcome.
And everybody, thank you so much for being here. We will be back next week for our Empower Yourself Monday, episode 12. Today's Twitter Spaces will be on our website, AWCSOUTH, Florida, FLORIDA.org. So again, thank you so much for all your support, and I appreciate everyone for being here. If you know any female entrepreneur or any woman that's in communication that you feel has an Empower Yourself story or wants to come on and chat with us, please DM me or Terry or Emily or AWCSF account, and we'll get back to you. And again, Kimmy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And we will chat with everyone later. And again, bye, everybody. I appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.